I'm going to show you 3 techniques you can use to pull off this awesome yet classic photocopy poster look within After Effects, and I'm going to recreate this example right here to cover all 3 of these techniques. So this is what I am going to cover today, and you can find the timestamps in the description down below, so just feel free to jump around where needed. Let's jump in. I am inside of After Effects. I've got my composition sitting here ready to go, and inside of my composition I have a background layer, 2 text layers, and some shapes behind my text. And to kick this off, I am going to start by giving these text layers that rough look. So I'll go over to Effects and Presets and type in Roughen and grab this Roughen Edges and just drop it onto my first text layer. I'm just going to start by adjusting this border. So I'll bring this up slightly to 16.5, and I'm also going to bring the scale up slightly to 109. And I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to press Ctrl+C and drop this onto all of my layers. Next up, I'm going to set up my footage layers to create this kind of grungy photocopy effect. In my project panel, I have some footage here. I'm going to grab this one right here, and I'll just adjust the position. And I'm also just going to put a mask in because I do have another piece of footage that I'll drop in a little while. Good. Alright, so there is a little bit of a trick to this. So I'm actually just going to press Ctrl+D to duplicate my layer. And for just now, I'm going to switch this top layer off. Next, I'm going to go over to Effects and Presets and type in Threshold. I'm going to drag this effect onto my bottom layer, and I'm going to bring this level up to about 133. What I have done here is I've effectively created a matte, which, if you don't know, we can basically use black and white images like this as a kind of stencil to cut out and hide parts of an image or a piece of footage. So I'm going to switch off this visibility and I will switch this one on. Now I'm going to go to Effects and Presets and I'm going to type in Set Matte, and I'm going to grab this effect and drop it onto the top layer. So as the name suggests, I'm going to select a layer here to use as a matte, and I'm going to use the one that I just created, and I'm going to change the source to Effects and Masks, and under Use for Matte I'm going to change this to luminance. So that's basically using the brightness levels of the matte layer that we made. And since it is black and white, it is picking this up. So you can see it's cut out the black areas, I believe it was. Yeah, we've got this white area. So it's cut out the black areas of that last piece of footage. I don't want it to cut out that bit. I want it to go the other way. So I'm just going to select Invert Matte. And this is where I want it to be. I actually don't want it to be color though, do I? So I'm going to go back to my first layer, grab this threshold, press Ctrl+C and drop this onto my layer. This is looking pretty good, but I kind of want to kind of slightly simplify this edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go back to this text layer and I'm going to press Ctrl+C and just grab that roughen edges and drop it back onto my layer. This is a little bit too much, so I'll just adjust this slightly. I'll bring this down to around about 5. 5.4 is fine, and I'm also going to bring this scale down 93. Looks quite nice. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process for this other video, and I'll come back when I'm done. So I've gone ahead and made those changes. I just wanted to draw your attention to my second video, which the threshold is slightly different on this layer. So obviously if you're using a different piece of footage trying to replicate it, you might have to adjust those values slightly. And I also wanted to show you this image. So this is just a still image. I've gone ahead and just added a rotation to it, but I wanted to show you how I kind of produced the same effect with this. So on this layer, instead of using a threshold, I basically created that matte effect with just these brightness and contrasts like so, and you can see that's basically just created a cutout for this. And on the top layer I did the set matte, and that's just gone ahead and cut out the rows, and then I dropped the threshold on. So there are multiple ways to kind of do the same or similar things, is my point within After Effects. Alright, so now I want to add some texture to these layers. So to create this photocopy paper texture, I'm gonna use real paper scans, and if you are wanting to do the same, you can just Google this, just type in paper scan textures into Google Images, or you could even like scan actual paper, you know, and make your own. Here's a couple of examples. I went ahead and got these from Envato Elements, so if you've got a subscription over there, you can just search for them on their website. Now, this is really easy to pull off. I'm just going to grab this first texture that I got and drop it on here. And I'm also just going to adjust the scale ever so slightly. And yeah, so all you do is just drop it in and change this mode to screen, and you have instant texture. And in this case, I also went ahead and dropped tons of scans in. As you can see here, I've just shortened them all to just a couple of frames each, changed them all to screen. You can see I've even used soft light instead on a couple of the layers, so you know, you can have a play around with the blending mode. You don't have to use screen, and you can just see it just produces this interesting animated texture look when playing through. There you have it. Go ahead and check out this video right here to see what else you can do within After Effects. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!